Ambassador, thank you for appearing on China Daily Lithuania's special. First of all, I think Lithuania still remains a land of mystery for most Chinese people. Actually, when I told my friends that I was going to Lithuania, they shouted out unanimously, the national basketball team. So what's the secret and why basketball?
I don't know. I start from asking you a question. Do you know how many basketball experts we have in Lithuania?
No.
3.4 million. Because
3.4 million.
yeah, everyone in Lithuania is a basketball expert, and everyone knows how to play the basketball. And we even sometimes joke that Lithuanians have three religions. Christianity, which is absolutely our main religion, and everyone knows about it. And basketball.
And basketball.
And basketball, because you've been in Lithuania, you notice that wherever you go, whom you meet and talk, basketball is always the topic for conversation with Lithuanians. Seriously, it's sometimes we ask ourselves why. We are such a small nation, such a small country, only 3.4 million, and we are so good in basketball. We are competing big countries on like United States and Argentina, and I don't know, I don't want to mention, but everything started in the beginning of last century. The basketball was born in United States, I think end of 19th century. Many Lithuanians lived in the United States. We have a big numbers of Lithuanians living in the United States. And I think the first experts, basketball experts, they were Lithuanians, but they came from United States. At that time, first Lithuanian team was created something like 1920. And from that time, basketball became more and more popular game in Lithuania. In the beginning, we were not so good as we are now, because Latvians were much better than us. Because, by the way, do you know that Latvians were among the countries who established the federation, international federation, world federation of basketball players? But then somehow, step by step, with the guidance and assistance from those Lithuanians who used to play and train basketball in the United States, our players were better and better. And we won the gold medals of European Championship. In the first gold medal we won, it was 1937. Then second time, 1939. So it was, I even don't know how, but it became very popular.
Is it because of part of the physical education in Lithuania?
Think so. When I once asked my colleague what he thinks, why basketball is so popular in Lithuania, he said that only strong people can play basketball, because it's a team game. You need to be strong physically. You need to be strong psychologically. And we Lithuanians, we think we are strong guys.
You guys are not only strong guys, but also tall guys.
And we are tall, definitely. Yeah. That's as well worth to mention. So this is how, basketball became popular. And when I mentioned that the first guys who came to train Lithuanian basketball players were from United States, the first book on basketball, the textbook or the rules book about basketball in Lithuanian was printed in 1920. So in 20 already we had a Lithuanian book about how to play basketball. And the sport education was always very strong in Lithuania. So in our schools, basketball became a popular sport to be taught in the school. So step by step we managed to do. And I think I need to mention, when we talk about basketball as a sport, it's not only sport for us. When we were occupied, the history goes back to Soviet times, basketball was very popular as well. Our main players at that time played for Soviet Union team, not for Lithuanian. We had no Lithuanian team. But we were always very much interested in basketball, how our guys are playing. And it was some kind of, again, a chance to show us, to show ourselves that we are strong, we can play, we can win, we can do things, that this is us Lithuanians. Even I think many of our families and during those Soviet times were deported to Siberia, and Lithuanians in those small and northern places, small villages of their deportation, they used to play basketball. They even taught local people, Siberians, to play basketball because it was a link keeping them close to home. Because basketball for them was something very specific which they had back at home. So it's really a very special thing for us. And I think sometimes foreign people, they really don't understand how important it is. It's basketball. Sometimes we joke, that basketball, the third religion I forgot to mention, we sometimes joke that it's a beer, because where basketball, the beer is always closed, because you watch a basketball game, you drink beer, and we have very good beer in Lithuania. So you can joke about it. But it's not only a joke, it's a serious thing as well. Basketball
so it's more like basketball is in your blood.
I think so. I think so.
I still remember in the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games, Lithuania team actually took the 4th place in the semifinals, only a few points behind Argentina. Very intensive and impressive. But I think basketball is more like a men's sport. And actually, during our stay in Lithuania, we saw many girls on the street, also in the shopping mall. And our tour guide also said the female population definitely outnumber the men's. And also, there is a large group of female officials running your government. So my question is, why is Lithuania dominated by the female population? Is it because of the diet?
I don't know whether we are dominated by the female population. According to the statistics, every Lithuanian woman, she has nearly the whole Lithuanian man, 0.89%. So it's not so bad.
Okay.
Not so bad. So we are nearly 50-50. It's the demographic situation is okay. I mean, that's not a big deal, not a problem, I think. When it comes to active women, to their role in the society, in politics, in governing the country, yes, that's true. As for today, our president, she's a very smart young lady. Speaker of the parliament, the same lady. Our Minister of Finance, lady. Minister of Defense, lady. And we can name many more ladies who really keep and hold very important postings and positions. Again, it's quite a difficult question to answer why it is so. I think Lithuanian, and not only Lithuanian, let's talk wider, a little bit wider about the region, because those countries, nations who used to live around Baltic Sea, which is cold sea, the climate is cold, and our men for centuries used to go out fishing to the sea, hunting and things like that. Women were always strong, taking care of the families, of children. They were always kind of strong ladies with their decision in the family and with the voice in the family. So this kind of historic approach to your question. But on the other hand, I think, which is perhaps more maybe better answer to the question that when we regained our independence in more than 20 years ago, we were very close with the Scandinavian countries, our neighbors, very close in that sense that they were among first who came to Baltic countries and to Lithuania to assist, to help, to advise how to build the country, how to rule the country, how the gender equality, they brought that term to Lithuania, gender equality, that every personality, whether he's with the suit or trousers, there are no difference, means what you can do and you must be treated on the same level. So I think, and you know very well how Scandinavian women are active and how many important posts they keep in their countries. So I think that made important role in the kind of why Lithuanian women became active, and they actually became active. They were very good in business, in education, in different sectors of their life. And then step by step they started to be active in politics. And that's what we have now. We have many active politicians, ladies, who have serious posts and who do a very good job for Lithuania.
And because in the Chinese culture, we have this really a kind of a superstition, but it's more like people actually believe it, that before the girl get pregnant, if she eats a lot of sour food, she is more likely to get a girl.
I never heard that.
You never heard that,
No,
but
never know,
it's
could be.
more like Chinese. It's more like because I've noticed that in Lithuania, people really enjoyed eating sour food, especially the black bread. It's very exotic. It's delicious. I mean,
Thank you.
It's probably because of the diet. You guys eat a lot of sour food.
We eat a lot of sour food, and we especially eat a lot of sour food winter time. And you visited Lithuania winter time, so that's why you saw so many sour food on our tables. Again, could be. I don't know. I never heard such a theory, but could be. That's truth. Sour food, but it's not only like Germans. Take Germans; they have a lot of sour food as well. They eat a lot. So maybe it's common for Europeans.
How do you make the bread?
Bread,
like
which
sour.
Which is really very famous, and the best present for Lithuanian boy or girl or young or old living abroad is a loaf of black rye Lithuanian bread. This is the only thing we really lack here and miss here in Beijing. Everything else you can buy.
Yeah.
Our black bread, that's it's very ancient. I mean, it's the recipes we make it today, they are the same we made 100 years ago. It's, as I said, rye bread, made from rye. It takes very long time. Like Lithuanian chefs are joking that it's much easier to make a very good cake than a simple everyday Lithuanian bread. Actually, it takes a lot of time and knowledge to make it, because like a single loaf of black bread, it takes minimum 12 hours to make it from the beginning.
12 hours?
12 hours. Because you make a dough, then you keep it, you put it on warm special places, then you mix it, and then it's the whole process. Of course, today everything is going to be modern. We change the recipes, we add some, different things to it. But the one I like the most, and my children like the most, and I ask my colleagues, this is the simple black rye bread without any kind of additional good things add to that, just a simple black bread.
So you can't find any black bread in Beijing?
No, no, unfortunately. We can buy some German bread, some Scandinavian type of black bread. But I'm sure you noticed that it's not the same. You've been in Lithuania, you tasted our bread. It's different. It's different, and that's why we really love it. It's as well. Some people say that it's the best Lithuanian dessert. Is our black bread.
Yeah, it's actually not only the bread, but also the beer. The
The
beer
beer.
is absolutely delicious. I mean, it's because I've heard that the climate in Lithuania is not actually naturally suitable for producing wine. So that's why you guys have really good beer.
I think so. Wine, wine was never our national drink. You were right. We are cold climate country. We have no grapes, so people many years ago, many hundreds of years ago, they started making beer and different strong alcoholic drinks. But beer is the drink which is most popular. And we have different kinds of beer. And last year we started to export Lithuanian beer to China. So
Really?
now, yeah. No,
Where can we buy Lithuanian beer in
yeah,
Beijing?
you can in Beijing, not yet, but we
Okay.
hope it will come soon. Now
Right.
you can buy it close to in Hong Kong and close to Hong Kong in
Right.
Shanghai area, this area. Yeah, beer is very popular, and as I said, we can call it the inseparable part to our basketball.
Actually, I'm a big fan of chocolate and dessert, all kinds of dessert. And I've noticed that in Lithuania, people actually pay more serious attention to dessert than Chinese people, and all the chocolate dishes were amazing.
Thank
so,
you.
what's your favorite dessert, and do you have any recommendations for sweet flowers in China?
My favorite dessert is black bread.
Okay.
I'm not very good expert in desserts because really I'm not the one who love sweet cakes and chocolate. You better talk to my children and my husband. They are very good experts in everything what's sweet. But seriously, I think for me, I love honey cakes. And we have a lot of different honey cakes in Lithuania. Honey, we eat a lot of honey in our cuisine. And many years ago, honey was used as instead of sugar, because we didn't have sugar. So honey was thing we used to make different dishes. And that's why honey cakes are very popular, different, soft, hard, different shape cakes. They are very good to keep. If you make a honey cake, you can keep it for a long time. Again, going back hundreds of years, it was not so easy to keep things long. We had no refrigerator, so that it was very popular. And I don't know whether you had a chance to see and taste in Lithuania one of the most popular honey cakes we call šakotis. Originally, I'll be frank, it came from Germany. They call it Baumkuchen. But through many years, Lithuanian recipe changed. We made it Lithuanian version of Baumkuchen. And now it is, you can find it on every party in Lithuanian home. So if we have a party, this šakotis, which reminds Christmas tree.
Christmas tree.
It reminds Christmas, the shape of it reminds Christmas tree. So it's very popular and I love it, I love it. But if we talk about our national sweets, Lithuanian national sweets, so we need to mention some very specific things. Like, for example, apple cheese. Perhaps
Apple cheese.
Yeah.
Cheese made from apple.
Cheese made from apple. Normally you do apple jam, which perhaps you know. What does it mean, apple jam? And then you cook it for a very long time. You cook and cook and cook. The juice evaporates, and then you have kind of very hard stuff left. And then you make a cheese. And then you keep it for some time, it dries, and then you cut it as a cheese, and it's really very tasty. So that's very special Lithuanian apple cheese.
Apple cheese.
Yes. Then I think if to talk about cheeses, we have very special Lithuanian black white cheese, soft one, which we love to eat with black bread, white cheese and black bread and honey, some honey. It's very special Lithuanian. And what else? Very simple dessert in Lithuania. Like I remember from my childhood, which is very easy to make here in China as well, is a milk, sweet milk with fresh berries.
Fresh berries.
Yeah, I remember like my grandma, she used every evening when we were small visiting my grandmother in the village. So every evening she was preparing milk. She just poured some milk, add some sugar or honey, and some fresh berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, what kind of berries, and you eat it, and it's very good.
Speaking of honey, actually, I remember on the first day upon arrival in the hotel, they hosted a welcome drink for us, and we tasted the meat drink for the first time, and we didn't realize it was made from honey, and it's very tasty and fortunately
And very strong.
very strong, but it's because it's a good liquor, so you don't get a hangover. And you drink it with water, anything, but you don't get a hangover. So what exactly is the meat drink?
Meat drink is a strong alcohol mixed with honey, and usually there are many, hundreds of different recipes in Lithuania how to make it. The different regions of Lithuania make different the meat in their villages and depending on what they add to that. So it's honey, strong alcohol, and some additional things like, again, some grasses you put in addition, herbal things, yeah. Some berries, like you can add some berries and keep for a while and drink it. So there's, as I said, 100 different things, but main ingredients are honey and strong spirit.
So is it more popular than beer? Or just
No,
equal?
no. I think winter time you can drink it, but it's not a drink you can drink like you drink a bottle of it, because it's really too strong and too specific in taste. And we usually drink it when it's very cold outside and you go out for a walk, skiing, or I don't know, just enjoying cold winter snow. You come back home and you feel freezing, then you can have just a little bit of it, and it helps a lot to warm up your body. It's very good with tea. And in Lithuanian families, we still use it as a medicine. When you get cold and you feel the first symptoms that something wrong is happening to you, you can have some of this honey drink with hot tea. It helps you as well, but just in the beginning. When you're already sick, it's not the right medicine to use.
And after every meal, there always goes a tea or coffee in Lithuania. So we didn't realize that Lithuania is such a big tea drinking country, especially the fruit flavored tea, absolutely stunning and delicious. How do you guys actually prepare fruit tea at home?
We do.
Like, how do you it's like, well, in China
we used to do it a lot. Now everyone can go to the shop and buy it. So as always and everywhere, I mean, it's easier to go and buy. But with all the changes in our society, is that everyone is looking for healthy, fresh, clean food. It's coming back. It's coming back, and now in our families back at home, women very often prepare themselves. You dry some fruits, you dry some berries and some herbs, and you make your own tea. Again, it's up to every family, to their own recipe, what they add to that mixture of different dried fruits and berries and herbs, but it's very popular. It's very popular. We drink a lot, and it's becoming more and more popular. I would say like 15, 20 years ago, coffee was very popular, the most popular drink. But now with this, the fashion for healthy life and healthy food changes our habits. And now more and more people like to drink tea, and Chinese green tea is becoming very popular. And the many Lithuanians who come to China, they always ask us, could you please show us where to buy tea, but please show us where to buy good tea, not this cheap in the market, but good tea. Means that people know more about Chinese tea, that they want to try good tea. So it's changing. The tea drinking habits are becoming stronger and stronger, I would say.
In general, because the whole world is ignorant, I would say, about the Lithuanian culture. But I did some research about Lithuanian culture. Actually, amber is connected with protection in your culture. And I don't know if it's a coincidence or what, but Lithuania does possess a large amount of amber resources. But also at the same time, it took millions of years for the amber to develop. So my question is, what does your government do to stop amber from running out?
When we talk about Baltic amber, I think we need to talk about Baltic amber, because this is a name for the special type of amber you can find around Baltic Sea. And it's very old, yeah, it's 50 million years old. We do have Lithuanian amber, which the resources we have in our territory. But we don't dig it. We still have it, and industrially we don't use it. For industrial consumption, like for making jewelry and making different things, we import amber from Russia, from Kaliningrad region, because I think for the moment they have the biggest, I'm not an expert in that, but I think this is the biggest factory which dig amber from the Baltic Sea, and they sell a material like for those who make different things from amber. And at the same time, people collect amber on the coast.
Is it legal?
It is, absolutely. You can go and do it. If you find it, it's yours. Sometimes foreigners think that they will go early morning and they will find huge pieces of amber. No, that's not true. But if you go after a storm and you know the right places, because it depends very much on the sea streams, how the seas, so local people, those who live close to the sea, they know very well when to go, which place to go, which time of the day to go, and they can find, and they find a lot of amber. When we talk about Lithuanian amber, I don't know what numbers we have this time today and these days, but before the World War II, Lithuania used to collect like few tons of amber. So it's not big amount, like 2 tons of amber per year. It's not a big amount, but imagine to collect it from the sea. That's something,
yeah.
And a lot of work. So many people used to live from that. It was their profession to collect amber and to sell to those people who made already garments, some products from raw amber. So that's when you asked about protection. Again, you are not protected. I mean, you are not. You can take small pieces of amber if you find some on the seacoast. That's yours. I mean, that's not the one you can really do a harm to the country taking small piece of amber. But if you buy amber and you take it from Lithuania, already the big pieces or the articles like jewelry, you must have certificate. So that's, I mean, you buy it, that it's not a black market deal or something like that.
So there is a restriction for tourists, any tourist?
No, it's like not kind of a restriction that you are not to take out of the country amber. You can take the amber, but
you can't take like 1 ton.
No, that's not the case. So that's I can joke again that we are very very smart Lithuanians. We don't dig our amber. We keep it for the future. It's our investment fund.
Yeah.
So as for today, we use the amber we find and we buy from other countries. And you can find Baltic amber not only in Lithuania and Russia. You can find amber in Poland, in Sweden, in Finland, the countries around. About 80% of all amber on the globe is of the Baltic origin. So the main portion, 80% of all amber is Baltic amber.
Yeah. Speaking of protection, we have to mention about the city, Vilnius, the capital city. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
And I know that Vilnius was listed on the World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1994, and we can see that we actually climb up the mountain that can oversees the whole city. It's divided into two parts. I mean, separate, completely separate from each other, the old city and the new city. It's beautiful. It's very well organized. The city is so clean, and you can't see any cigarette butts on the street, or even tree leaves, and it's so amazing. How do your government protect the culture and all this world heritage, I mean, in Lithuania?
Yeah, thank you very much for nice words about our capital city, Vilnius. I was not born in Vilnius. I was born in a much smaller town, which is quite close to Vilnius, but not in Vilnius. But I spent many years in Vilnius. I was a student, and then I worked in there, and right now I think I'm a Vilnius citizen because my home now is in Vilnius. Vilnius is a very old, ancient city with the downtown, which we preserve and we love very much, and we are very much proud of. And in order to keep our history alive, being a small country, we are very much cautious about not destroying what we have and what we managed, what survived so many hundreds of years, and we try to keep it for future generations. In our culture and in our understanding, the ancient thing is a precious thing. Modern thing, you can build many new modern things, but like for example, you can find houses which date back to 14th century in the downtown Vilnius. Today you walk and you see the house which was built in 14th, 15th century. So how being a mayor of the city or a prime minister of the country, everyone, I think you must do everything you can to keep it for your children, for your grandchildren, because it's part of us, of our history, of our culture. And that's why when we regained our independence, when we had the right to decide, because before that we had no right to decide. But I don't want to talk about that period. I mean, it was a history, so it happened, it happened. Now, when we regained our independence, the government understood that we need to be very cautious. We need to take care of what we have, what survived. And actually, very strict laws and regulations were introduced when it came to building in old city, to rebuilding, to changing some even parts of the house which is old. You can't do it without special permissions. Some investors say, oh, you are crazy guys. In order to build something in your downtown, it's impossible. Yes, it is difficult. It is possible. It's not impossible. It is possible. But if you choose to have your business office in downtown Vilnius, you must understand that there will be very strict regulations too, and you will be asked to keep everything you find. For example, you are repainting your walls, and suddenly you find some small piece of old fresque. Stop. You ask special people from special authorities to come, and they can ask you to open the whole wall of your office or your home to look for the fresk, and if you find some, you must preserve it, you must keep it, and you do it on your costs. I mean, this is how it is, and it's not easy, but this is the only way to keep it. It's very easy to ruin
Destroy it.
and destroy,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's impossible to rebuild the same. You can rebuild a copy, but you will never rebuild the same building. So that's why regulations are strict, but that's why we enjoy the results. That's why you, being a foreigner, come to see me, and you say so many nice words about my capital city, Vilnius, and thank you very much for nice words, and I'm proud to listen that foreigners see what we did, and I think the results are really, they are good. We preserve very much the old city, and that's why the decision was made somehow to divide the city into two, because being the UNESCO heritage, the downtown, they have as well very strict regulations. If we want to keep that brand, let's call it brand, being a part of UNESCO heritage, we need to keep some special terms, and that's why the new modern high buildings were not allowed to be very close to downtown, and that the decision was made to develop the modern city on the other side of the river. The decision, I think, was right. Now we have very close but very two separate parts. So like, you know, you can walk 15th century old streets, and then in 10 minutes you can be in a modern part of the city where can you enjoy all those modern, not Chinese tall skyscrapers like you have here in Beijing or Shanghai, but quite tall for us.
I remember before we left Lithuania, actually it was close to the Christmas Eve, and we were so lucky to see the live, actually the rehearsal of the 3D projection show on the big Lithuania, on the big Vilnius Cathedral. And there is a couple of culture elements in that show I want to ask, because I'm personally very interested in the whole Lithuania culture and history. In the show, actually the video featured a lizard and a rooster and also the wolf who started the country. And so you feel like a sense of nationalism going on while you watch that video. And I, as a foreigner, I do feel proud, like, for the Lithuanian people, for the fact that they enjoy their nationalism, this sort of spirit. So my question is, do you think Lithuania, like what you have said, that Lithuania is a very small country, the people are very tough. So do you think I can use the word nationalism, like, to describe the Lithuania spirit?
No, I don't think it's a nationalism. Let's call it very healthy nationalism. Very healthy nationalism which has nothing negative in it. We don't think we are better than other countries. We don't think we are smarter than all other Europeans. I think we are very smart people who love their country very much, who know very well the history and the cost of the freedom. As already mentioned, that Lithuania is a geographical center of Europe. And we used to be a crossroad for many different kind of movements in Europe. And I mean, perhaps it was kind of treatment. We used to live surrounded by different wars and different fights of interest, and that's why we know that we must cherish what we have, because it's so fragile, and that's, being a small country, we understand that it's so easy to lose what we have today. As I said, we're so fragile, everything is so fragile. And it's in our blood that, as I mentioned when we talked before our interview, that we talked about religion and about other things. In every Lithuanian family, even if it's not a very religious family, during Soviet times, we always used Lithuanian language. We always teach our children, our how to say, during national holidays, we always celebrated, even with curtains closed, because it was not always allowed to do that in Soviet time. But it was Lithuania, and Lithuanian name was always very, it was not just, some letters written on piece of paper. It was, and it is, very deep inside us. And because we had very difficult history, I mentioned some deportations to Siberia. I mentioned that there are many Lithuanians living in the United States, and not only, there are many Lithuanians living in Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina. They live in those countries not because the life is much better. They emigrated because the life was not easy one. And those people, they managed to keep Lithuanian language for many, many years. They trained their children, and they teach their children to sing Lithuanian songs, to make Lithuanian dishes. I think this, like my grandfather, he spent nearly all his life in the United States. But when he came to visit us, he was crying. He was crying, and on one hand, he spent a better life because he was more rich. I mean, he had a good job. He had opportunity to travel. I'm talking about Soviet times now. We were back in Soviet Union. We had no this fancy life like the guy who lived in the United States had. But at that time, he thought that we were much more happy than him, being rich, wealthy, American, having good job, and educating his children in the United States. Because we were in Lithuania, and we were Lithuanians in our own country. So, I mean, I talk a lot, but you can say it in few words. It's we are very, very, very proud of being Lithuanians, because Lithuania is something we worked hard for centuries to have. Now we have it, and we used to have it, but we used to lose it as well. So now we know the price for it, and the price is huge, and we think that this is a very, very special thing we have, and we cherish it.